I will talk about security threats. Security threats and events can arise from multiple factors and vulnerabilities. Physical security threats encompass unauthorized access, physical altercation, protests, riots, terrorism, or other violent incidents, presenting substantial risks, especially in events hosting large crowds or notable figures. Moreover, insufficient crowd control mechanisms significantly contribute to safety hazards like stampedes, overcrowding, or crashing incidents. I have one example of an event that faced security threats. It is happened in Boston Marathon bombing in 2013, experienced a significant security threat during its 2013 edition. Two homemade pressure cooker bombs were detonated near the finish line of the marathon, causing multiple casualties and injuring hundreds of people. This tragic incident was a deliberate act of terrorism. The bombs were placed in crowded areas, resulting in chaos, injuries to runners and spectators, and the loss of life. There are several strategies to avoid security threats in the future event. First thing first, we need to develop a security plan. We need to create a detailed security plan tailored to the identified risks. This plan should include measures of crowd control, access control, emergency response protocol, cybersecurity communication strategies, and collaboration with local law enforcement and emergency service. Second, invest in physical security measures. We need to deploy a trained security personnel and use physical barriers, surveillance cameras, metal detector, back checks, and access control point to deter and detect threats. So, for the next risk is natural disaster. Natural disaster can disrupt events due to their unpredictable occurrence and the diverse geographic setting where this gathering occur. Weather related to disasters can significantly impact events held outdoor or in regions susceptible to extreme weather conditions. One prominent example of a natural disaster affecting an event occurred during its 1996 Summer Olympic held in Atlanta, Georgia, where extreme weather, particularly a powerful storm, disrupted the opening ceremony. During the opening ceremony of the Olympics in July 19, 1996, a severe thunderstorm struck the city. The storm brought a heavy rain, lightning, and strong winds, causing chaos and endangering attendees. Lightning struck the Olympic Stadium, resulting in injuries to spectators, including one fatality and several others were injured. It demonstrated that how unforeseen weather-related incidents could impact major global events and emphasized the importance of preparedness and safety measures during large-scale gatherings. So, for the strategy to avoid the natural disaster in the future event is, first thing first, you need to know the location and venue selection, which is we need to choose event location and venue with a lower susceptibility to natural disaster whenever possible, and considering historical data and expert assessment of risks related to specific natural disaster when selecting event sites. Second, collaboration with authorities and experts. You need to collaborate with local authorities, emergency services, and meteorological agency to stay informed about potential risks and receive guidance on safety measures.
For the risk event, I have two risks, which is the political unrest. It's about political unrest, a state of instability or a disorder in a society or country. Riots or other forms of action against the government or the other authorities. So the first one is variety of consequence, which is that the first one, violence, and it also can lead to the economy instability. Political unrest can lead to the violence. So both between protest and police or government forces, and the between of groups protest. Next, it also can happen to the instability. Political unrest can destabilize a country and make it more difficult to the government. Next, I have the strategy for solve the problem, which is that the first one is addressing economy inequality. Is a measure that cause of political event. So government can address the investing in education or job training. Number two is promoting political participation. When people feel that they have a voice in the government, they feel like to resort the violence or other forms of the protest. Government can promote political unrest to the community or to the people by holding free or fair election. Risk number two is children attending or participation. The first one is physical hazard. Children may be injured by the falls, tripping, or being stuck or crowded in the event, and they are also exposed to hazards such as heat. Next, common risks that children face in the event also that can maybe bully, harass, or exclude by the other children. They may also exposed to inappropriate language, behavior, or content. And other risks that children face in event are emotional hazard. They are also have a strategy, which is the first one is for the organizer, they can develop and implement a safety plan to the children, giving them feel comfortable when the children having a problem. Next is also conduct a risk assessment to identify potential hazard and develop mitigation strategies. Besides that, they also parents. Parents is also the main for solve the problem, which is that they have talk to the children about the event, about how the event going, and also giving them a support.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. I am Muhammad Syahid Haziq bin Muhammad Rafi. My metro number is 281874, and this time I'll be explaining about two more factors that may contribute to risks, which are aggressive behavior and food safety. So we'll start with aggressive behavior. So how aggressive behavior happens is when people are too crowded in an area, in a small area, making them difficult to move. And this is also related to crowd control. When aggressive kicks in, people will get injured easily and it may cause casualties. So when you're being too aggressive in events, better be careful. One of the examples that I can think of is back in 2022 is where the Seoul Halloween Stampede occurs, where around 160 people die as people try to evacuate from the scene, but they were too crowded like this, like a sandwich. So how to control the crowd during these type of events is to detect, diffuse, and respond. Detect the aggressiveness, diffuse them, and respond to the aggression if it is out of control. So now we'll go to food safety. So it is essential to all events because attendees come to have a bite, right, during breaks. However, if there's no observation or inspection made, serious food poisoning cases can occur. In other words, that food is not safe anymore. While it is rarely happened that a big event has to shut down due to food poisoning, wedding ceremonies can be the target because in a few cases, people suffering from food poisoning because of attending wedding ceremonies. Now, how to stop food poisoning from keep it happen? Like I said before, you don't observe, don't inspect, and don't even assume that the event will run smoothly until disaster struck. One thing's for sure is to check each and every food to make sure it is safe for people to eat. And make a backup plan in case it happens, because we never know, food poisoning can happen anytime. So that is all from me. Thank you.
How the technical failure occur. Technical of confess occurred for various reasons, including e-commerce malfunctions, issues with the project's microphone or computers or other hardware. One of the reasons also like human error, mistakes in the setting up the equipment and configuring the software or handling the technology during that event. Some examples for the past events with the technical failures happened in the past. First one is the real-world examples of technology conference event and the experience technical failure include. It was in 2017 Mobile World Congress, a major mobile industry event, faced a technical glitch during a product demonstration impacting to the company reputation. One of the other examples is TEDx 2020 virtual event consequently issues and server problem lead to disruption, live streaming and audience engagement. Okay, there is some strategic to avoid technical failures in the future events. First one, to prevent the reduce and the impact of technical failures, we should care about throat testing and conduct extensive testing of all equipment and technology before the event and to identify the address potential issue. Second could be like technical support team, ensure there is a qualified technical support team on instantly address issues properly. One of the other risks we could face is supply chain disruption. How the supply chain disruption occur? Natural disaster, events such as earthquakes, floods, or hurricanes or wildfires can disrupt the transportation. I will give some examples for the past event with the supply chain disruption. One of them, like COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, widespread lockdown and travel restriction and factory closure disruption global supply chain and all around the world. One of the other example also in Japan, earthquake and tsunami in 2011, and the earthquake and tsunami led to the disruption to the automobile and electronic industry due to the shutdown of the key manufacturing plants. So, the strategy to avoid or mitigate the supply chain disruption in the future events could be risk assessment in the planning, conduct a thorough risk assessment of the supply chain or real-time monitoring and visibility, like implement technologies that provide real-time visibility into the supply chain. Also could be like cooperation and communication, foster strong communication and collaboration with the suppliers, logistics partners and other stakeholders to quickly address to the challenge and share relevant information.
Identify the risks in major event. My point is crowd control. How these risks occur when the density of crowd is high. A small movement can cause ripping, which intensify the intensity until they crush people in epicenter or on the margin if they come into contact with an immovable object like wall or bearing. When the population density more than 5 people per square meter may cause insufficient turning space when heightened free movement. When the population density more than 6 people per square meter, the risk of fall increase. So the example I bring is Lithuanian crowd in Korea. In this accident, it causing a 159 deaths and 196 injuries. The incident occurred on the night of October 29. The entertainment bar district of Litauen is celebrate the Halloween and there are 100,000 people into a only 3.2 meter wide of alley. In 4 hours before the accident, the police received a total of 11 calls, but only 4 police officers is there to control the crowd. Some people think that is a illegal construction was one of the direct cause of this accident. The 45-meter long alley in Litauen was very sharp. According to the Korean regulation, the width of the alley should be at least 4 meters. However, the Litauen alley only have 3.2 meters at the bottom. So the design make the space narrow and caused this incident. Moreover, during the accident, the people there took the opportunity to push. Even somebody is fall down, they're still pushing, and it caused the crowd fall like a domino. Here is some strategy to avoid the risks in future events. The organizers should quickly send ambulance and emergency worker to control or help in the accident. This can make sure the people can get the medical help faster. However, for this accident, they have a shorten of emergency manpower, so the citizen also join into the rescue and make a delay of the golden rescue time.
And next, I'll talk about the next risk, which is staff and volunteer safety. So how
this risk can occur is first is because of inadequate training, because of donors and employees wouldn't get the right instructions of the safety precautions, so they do not know what to do. So example events of about safety and volunteer safety is like in New York Post 2018, a customer murdered an intern at New York City food pantry at the soup dining room failed to sufficiently evaluate the client risk of assault before permitting him to serve as the volunteer. So the strategies can use to avoid is first is create a safe working environment, and then secondly is give instruction of safety protocols, which means that before you employ the volunteers you need to know their background first before you employ them. And next risk is about medical assistance requirements. So how this risk occurs is examples of fraud and abuse. Why? Fraud can happen when people or service provider knowingly give false information about how to qualify for the advantages or solutions they offers. So the example of the real event for this is, according to Booth 2023, fraud charges have been brought against a nurse expert in Michigan for supposedly billing Medicaid for fictitious offerings. And the Medicaid fraud is a crime brought by against 45-year-old Kimberly Klein by the Michigan Attorney General Office. And the strategies to use to avoid these things happens first is we can use that recognize the prerequisite for eligibility. It is critical comprehend the qualifying requirements prior submitting and applying medical assistance. This covers residencies, necessities, and revenue constraints, information regarding qualifications, and it is available on the Medicaid independent sites of our nation's capitals. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kirtivasan, son of Munusami, and my matrix number is 291394. This time, I will cover the two risks which are terrorism and transport and traffic management. Terrorism has always been the target of big events just to get chaotic at the scene, proving that terrorism has always become fearful to everyone, even event organizers. This is mainly because the terrorism has been identified as a serious threat on events and organizers are finding a way to stop them. Example of events that is stopped by terrorism is in 2013. During a marathon in Boston, which I have mentioned, where a bomb was placed at the finish line causing multiple injuries, talk about the terrorist at the event. One of the ways to stop the terrorism in events is to make sure that security is super tight so people will know that the event will be safe from any terrorist attacks. Another thing is to identify and aware if there is a suspicious situation at the event and report to the authorities immediately. Next is about transport and traffic management, where I can say is crucial to follow the flow of the vehicles crossing or going through at the event without injuring people, but it might causing delays and jams because people want to go to the event. There is no specific example of any mishaps happen because of traffic and transport as of now. The strategy to this is to make lanes or gates for people come and go and add additional security like the policies to help guard people without pushing others. Thank you.